Welcome to the Story World channel. We're delighted to have you here. Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in captivating tales. Enjoy your viewing experience. As Emma awakened, a peculiar sensation crept over her, a distinct feeling that someone was fixated on her. Gradually opening her eyes, she discovered a solitary rose petal resting on her pillow, followed by yet another. To her astonishment, the petals multiplied, forming a magnificent bouquet of resplendent red roses. "Good morning," greeted her husband Matthew with tenderness. "Happy anniversary, my dear." It had been 12 years since their magical wedding day, a milestone Emma cherished. From that moment onward, every passing year had been filled with contentment, defying skeptics who believed such happiness existed only in fairy tales and movies. Emma knew firsthand that true love and genuine joy transcended the realm of fantasy. Matthew's unwavering presence in her life, alongside their beloved son, Henry, formed the pillars of Emma's happiness. Friends marveled at the unwavering tenderness she and Matthew shared, questioning the secret behind their enduring connection. For Emma, the answer was simple. Her heart overflowed with extraordinary kindness and boundless love, nourishing her own happiness and sustaining the affection she shared with Matthew. Their love story began during their college years, as Matthew, 5 years her senior, was captivated by Emma's gentle nature. In her final year of study, he proposed, marking the beginning of their tranquil family life. They weathered the years without ever succumbing to petty quarrels. Each day was a treasured gift, basking in the warmth of their love, and enveloped in an atmosphere of kindness and serenity. Their joy multiplied when Henry, their cherished son, came into the world, now celebrating his 10th birthday. Lost in the comforting embrace of cherished memories, Emma momentarily forgot to express her gratitude to her thoughtful husband for the surprise. "Matthew, my dear, thank you. Happy anniversary to you too," she finally uttered. "I am grateful to have you," Emma exclaimed, her heart brimming with joy. "And I am grateful to have you too. Perhaps we can celebrate our special day a little more tonight," Matthew suggested. "Yes, of course, darling. I'll prepare a delectable dinner. Don't be late," Emma responded, her excitement palpable. After a delightful breakfast, Matthew hastened off to work, leaving Emma with her thoughts and preparations for the evening's celebration. Anticipation filled Emma's heart as she spent the entire day eagerly looking forward to the romantic evening that awaited her. Little did she expect the approaching storm that threatened to shatter her joy. As the clock neared 6, Matthew had yet to arrive. He was already half an hour late, leaving the celebratory dinner to grow cold on the table. Concern etched across Emma's face as she wondered what could have happened. Perhaps he was held up at work. She dialed her husband's phone number for the umpteenth time, but each attempt went unanswered. "Mum, is Dad coming soon? I'm hungry," Henry inquired, twirling around the table with impatience. "Sit down and eat, son," Emma replied, masking her growing worry. Henry obediently took his place and began to enjoy his meal, unaware of the tension in the air. 15 long minutes crawled by, and Henry finished his dinner with gratitude. "Thank you, Mom. It was delicious. I need to go now. I haven't finished my homework," he stated. Emma smiled proudly at her responsible and intelligent son. She had been fortunate in raising Henry, who took his studies seriously and consistently achieved good grades. As he left the table, Emma was left alone with her mounting concerns. Finally, the sound of keys and the creaking of the front door filled the silent house. Relief washed over Emma as she saw Matthew's arrival. "Matthew, where have you been? I was worried. Did you get delayed at work?" she asked, her voice tinged with both relief and anxiety. Matthew, avoiding eye contact, nodded in acknowledgement. "Yes, at work," he muttered, his voice heavy with a burden Emma had never witnessed before. Knowing Matthew like the back of her hand, Emma immediately sensed that something was amiss. Her intuition told her that her husband was deeply troubled. However, she made the conscious decision not to pry, choosing instead to serve dinner and maintain a semblance of normalcy. Matthew picked up his fork, ready to eat, but abruptly froze. His voice, tinged with melancholy, broke the silence. "A woman from the town nearby. She passed away. I was with her many years ago, during my time working after technical school. She was nearly 15 years older than me. We had only 2 meetings. In short, I have a daughter, Jackie. She's 13. She has no relatives except me," Matthew revealed, his words hanging heavily in the air. As Matthew spoke, Emma felt as if she were in a trance. It was as though someone else was narrating this tale to her, and she had merely stumbled upon it. She refrained from questioning the timeline of events, whether it occurred before or after they met, knowing that dwelling on such details would only bring unnecessary pain. What mattered now was the present and the decision that beckoned her. Without hesitation, Emma resolved that she would not lose her family under any circumstances. The love she shared with Matthew and the bond they had built over the years were too precious to be tarnished by past mistakes or unexpected revelations. Matthew sat there, his spirit crushed, unable to meet Emma's gaze. Shame enveloped him, fearing that his revelation would cause her to reject him and walk away. But then, a gentle touch rested upon his palm, Emma's hand extending warmth and reassurance. She peered into his eyes, her voice hesitant yet caring. "What are we going to do?" Emma inquired, though she already sensed the answer. Matthew was a kind and honorable man, and she had a premonition that he would accept his daughter without hesitation and care for her as his own. "I will arrange for a DNA test. If Jackie is indeed my daughter, I cannot bear the thought of her living in an orphanage with a living father," Matthew responded, his words laced with a deep sense of responsibility. The mention of father cut through Emma's heart, causing a pang of anguish. The realization that Matthew had once shared intimate moments with another woman, even if it was in the past, weighed heavily upon her. Yet, she understood his sentiment and silently accepted his decision. "I understand, Matthew. Go and bring her home," Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. She couldn't bring herself to offer going together, not just yet. The next day, Matthew embarked on the journey to retrieve Jackie. Restlessness consumed Emma as she pondered how the young girl, who had recently lost her mother, would perceive her newfound father. Overwhelmed by grief and uncertainty, Jackie might resist forming a connection with her unexpected father, let alone accept Emma as her stepmother. Everything seemed to go awry for Emma that day. Each task slipped from her hands, despite her usual love for cleanliness and order. A brief phone call from Matthew felt like an electric shock, heightening her anticipation and anxiety. "Emma, we're coming home tomorrow night," he informed her. Nightfall arrived, and sleep evaded Emma. The thought of connecting with a 13-year-old was daunting, but she clung to the hope that love and tenderness, which had been pillars of her life, would guide her through this challenging situation. Sharing the truth with Henry, their 10-year-old son, proved to be difficult, but she believed honesty was the best approach. "Mom, don't worry. We'll figure it out. The most important thing is that we're together," Henry assured her, displaying a maturity beyond his years. In the evening, Emma prepared dinner, her mind filled with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Each dish seemed to carry a weight of significance, symbolizing the merging of 2 worlds and the beginning of a new chapter for their family. The kitchen brimmed with delicious aromas that wafted through the air, heightening the anticipation in the house. Suddenly, the familiar sound of a key turning in the lock resonated, drawing Emma's attention. Controlling her excitement, she made her way to the hallway. Standing in the doorway was a bewildered Matthew, accompanied by a teenage girl. The girl had short hair, tattoos adorning her neck, and a nose piercing on the left side. Her attire was unconventional, donning a shapeless sweater, wide pants, and boots that mirrored the appearance of soldiers. Emma rarely encountered such a modern youth. Henry, her own son, was quite different. She gazed at the girl in astonishment, but little did she know, this was just the beginning. "So you're my new stepmother," the girl sneered, her voice filled with hostility. "Why are you staring? Don't you like me? Are you going to teach me how to live? Don't bother. I'm already educated, and you'll never be a mother to me." Matthew, alarmed by his daughter's impolite remarks, intervened. "Jackie, stop. You can't behave like that. Emma doesn't deserve such treatment. Apologize immediately." However, instead of complying, Jackie glared at Matthew and erupted in anger. "Daddy, why did you bring me here? You should have just paid me some money. You owe me alimony, you know." Matthew attempted to defuse the situation, his voice tinged with urgency. "Please, don't shout or scare the neighbors. Let's go and eat." "I don't want to eat. Where can I throw my stuff? And you, Dad, you better start thinking about money," Jackie continued, her arrogant demeanor unyielding. An overwhelmed Emma leaned against the wall, wringing her hands in despair. She couldn't fathom the turn of events that had transpired. "What's wrong, Emma?" Matthew exclaimed when he noticed his wife, her face pale as a sheet. "Nothing. I just didn't expect this," she replied, her flustered voice betraying her inner turmoil. Matthew, sensing her distress, implored her to join him in the kitchen. "Emma, let's go. I'll tell you everything about Jackie. She has had a tough life." As Emma mechanically served dinner onto plates, she struggled to hold back tears. "Matthew, why did this have to happen to us?" she questioned. "If only I had known earlier, perhaps everything could have been different. Jackie wouldn't have become so callous and rude." Her mother's struggles with alcoholism had cast a shadow over Jackie's upbringing. The authorities had never taken away her mother's parental rights, leaving the girl practically fending for herself on the streets from the tender age of 8. It was unimaginable the hardship she had endured and the person she had become as a result. "I understand, Emma. I'll do the DNA analysis. But if it's confirmed that she's my daughter, I won't be able to simply forget about her." "Yes, it will be challenging, but my love will find a way," Matthew reassured, a warm smile gracing his face. Emma embraced her husband, her arms wrapped around his neck tightly. She was willing to face any obstacles to keep their family intact. Yet deep down, a small part of her still harbored a hope that Jackie was not biologically connected to Matthew. However, that hope was shattered when the results of the DNA analysis from the clinic confirmed Matthew's paternity with 100% certainty. The responsibility of bridging the gap between Jackie and the rest of the family largely fell upon Emma's shoulders. With Matthew spending most of his day at work and Emma managing her budding design business from home, their communication with Jackie proved to be far from easy. Initially, Jackie's interactions consisted of a few rude words hurled at Emma. She barely touched her food, preferring to sustain herself with pocket money that Matthew provided and disappearing until late in the evening when she returned without uttering a word, retreating to her room. Matthew attempted to establish a connection with his newfound daughter, believing that providing her with financial support would make it easier. However, Jackie saw the money as compensation for his absence during the 13 years of her life. The fact that Matthew had been unaware of her existence didn't seem to faze her. No matter how hard he tried to show care and attention, Jackie remained distant and silent. Despite his efforts, the only achievement he managed was saving her mobile phone number in his and Emma's contacts. From the moment Jackie laid eyes on Emma, an unspoken tension hung heavy in the air. Despite the deep-seated animosity Jackie harbored towards her, Emma refused to lose hope in forging a meaningful relationship with her stepdaughter. She firmly resolved to establish at least a sense of respect, driven by her love for her husband. However, all of Emma's attempts to reach out to Jackie proved futile. The girl remained indifferent, responding with an irrational wave of irritation whenever Emma tried to engage in conversation. It seemed that Jackie took pleasure in deliberately disrupting the order and cleanliness that Emma cherished. She would break brooches, scatter trash around the rooms, or accidentally spill coffee on the tablecloth, purposely testing Emma's patience. With each small annoyance endured, Jackie's hatred grew, leading her to treat her stepmother with increasing rudeness. Matthew attempted to intervene and stop Jackie's disrespectful behavior, but his efforts proved fruitless. Over time, even his initial optimism began to fade. Emma felt lost, unsure of how to improve her relationship with her stepdaughter. Increasingly, Matthew contemplated the idea of separating from Jackie, suggesting they rent an apartment for her and provide financial support. However, Emma recognized the importance of addressing the underlying issues, fearing what Jackie's future might hold if left to her own devices. We need to get her out of this state of unbridled impudence and cynicism. It's a pity that she spends most of her day somewhere, probably in bad company. But we must continue the fight, Emma declared, her steely determination surfacing. She had set a goal for herself and refused to back down. Matthew admired his wife's bravery and wisdom, acknowledging her strength of character. Yet, despite Emma's relentless efforts, they yielded no tangible results. She couldn't find a way to penetrate the walls surrounding Jackie's heart. Quietly, calmly, and with kindness, Emma offered her assistance in every aspect of Jackie's life. She cooked for her, tidied up after her, and even gave her thoughtful gifts that were always demonstratively refused. Emma never scolded or chastised Jackie. Instead, she consistently offered kind words, seeking to warm and encourage her stepdaughter. And when the girl truly made Emma's life unbearable, she would sadly ask, "Why do you do this, Jackie?" The situation only worsened when it came to finding a suitable school for Jackie. They faced numerous challenges, struggling to secure a placement for her. The mounting complexities tested Emma's resolve, but she remained steadfast in her determination to break through to Jackie's troubled heart. Near their home, the situation with Jackie grew increasingly dire as bitterness consumed her, and her behavior at school became despicable. The teacher and school director constantly summoned her father and stepmother, presenting a persistent challenge. One fateful day, an incident occurred that surpassed any previous misfortunes. As was often the case, Jackie received reprimands at school and obtained poor grades, plunging her into a terrible mood. In a fit of anger, she threw her bag in the hallway and slumped into her chair, seething with resentment towards the world. Emma, sensing Jackie's distress, rushed out of the kitchen, her heart full of concern. "You're upset, Jackie. What happened? Did something go wrong? Let's go have lunch, and you can tell me about it," Emma suggested, hoping to alleviate the girl's anguish. Without warning, Jackie snatched her bag and stormed into the kitchen, forcefully throwing it onto the dining table. Plates, cups, and a pot of soup were sent flying, crashing onto the floor with a cacophony of shattering glass and splattered food. Consumed by a hysterical fit, Jackie grabbed the tablecloth and, in a moment of rage, attempted to rip it from the table. Emma, driven by her unconditional love and desire to calm Jackie, rushed toward her, reaching out to offer comfort. "Jackie, please, calm down," she implored, her voice filled with genuine concern. However, in a whirlwind of fury, Jackie bit into her stepmother's hand with a force that drew blood. The pain and shock of the moment reverberated through the kitchen. At that very moment, Matthew arrived home, witnessing the aftermath of the chaos. Overwhelmed by the realization that she had crossed a boundary and fearing the consequences of her actions, Jackie's instinctual response was to flee. Hastily, she raced from the kitchen, hastily throwing on clothes as she made her way into the street, seeking solace from the chaos she had caused. Upon entering the house, Matthew discovered Emma bandaging her injured hand, her face etched with pain. Seeing his wife's blood-soaked bandage, he immediately grasped what had transpired. "Emma, don't lie to me. Did she harm you? I know she did. That's it. I've made up my mind. I'm going to take her to the orphanage on Monday," Matthew declared, his voice filled with a mixture of anguish and determination. Desperate to salvage the situation and determined not to give up, Emma pleaded, "Matthew, please don't rush into a decision. Give me a little more time. I beg of you." Matthew, deeply conflicted, held his wife tenderly, finding solace in her embrace. "Emma, it's heartbreaking that it hasn't worked out as we hoped," he murmured, his voice filled with sorrow and disappointment. "Who is your daughter after all? Can't you give her one more chance?" Emma pleaded, her voice filled with desperation and a glimmer of hope. "No, Emma, she's only our daughter on paper. In reality, she hates us, and that wall of malice and treachery will never be overcome," Matthew asserted firmly, his words cutting through Emma's heart. Feeling lost and defeated, Emma didn't know where to turn. She understood Matthew's unwavering nature once he made a decision, making it all the more challenging to change his mind. The realization that she couldn't melt Jackie's heart with tenderness and care was a humbling and painful truth. Automatically, Emma proceeded to prepare dinner, though her appetite had vanished. Henry, their son, entered the kitchen and immediately noticed his mother's distress. Concern etched his face as he inquired, "Mom, what happened? Is it Jackie again?" Emma reassured him with a strained smile. "Now everything's fine, my dear." Despite being only 3 years apart in age, the divide between Henry and Jackie felt like an insurmountable chasm. Emma pondered her options, realizing that Matthew's bravery in making a firm decision now might lead to regrets in the future. Suddenly, a memory resurfaced, her mother's advice on turning to God during times of insurmountable difficulties. Her mother, a devout Christian, had instilled a deep love for God within Emma. "Lord, help me. I want to improve my relationship with Jackie. Why does she hate me? Is it simply because I am a stepmother? I don't know what to do. I rely on you," Emma whispered, her prayer filled with selflessness and tears. She became so absorbed in her plea that she didn't notice Jackie's return. Unbeknownst to Emma, a peculiar whisper and faint sobs caught Jackie's attention. Intrigued, she approached quietly, listening to the heartfelt prayer. It was a prayer she recognized, one her grandmother used to recite when she was little. Jackie had always loved it dearly, but her grandmother had passed away when she was only 8, leaving her life in a state of instability. As Emma continued to pray, Jackie couldn't tear her eyes away. The sincerity and vulnerability in her stepmother's plea touched something within her. A sudden urge to approach Emma and apologize for her earlier outburst overwhelmed her. Yet an unexplainable barrier lodged itself deep within her heart, hindering her from fully embracing these newfound positive emotions. With a heavy heart, Jackie rushed to her room, shutting the door tightly behind her. The entire weekend, Emma remained in a state of deep depression, consumed by thoughts of Jackie. Matthew, trying to console his wife, offered reassurance. "Don't be upset, Emma. We're doing everything we can. Let's not hope for anything more. I shouldn't have brought her here. She didn't even apologize for her terrible behavior when she hurt your hand," Emma lamented, blaming herself for the current situation. Matthew embraced his wife gently, urging her not to make excuses for Jackie's behavior. "She'll come back tonight, and tomorrow morning I'll take her away. That's it," he declared resolutely, determined to resolve the turmoil. However, the evening passed and Jackie did not return. For the first time, she failed to come back that evening or throughout the night. Only as the morning light began to illuminate the room, Emma's mobile phone rang. It was Jackie, her voice faint and weak. "I'm freezing, Emma. I can't move. Please come and get me," Jackie whispered, her vulnerability seeping through the phone. Anxiety gripped Emma as she asked, "Where are you?" I don't know. Some abandoned non-residential buildings on a construction site, not far from the city," Jackie replied before the connection abruptly ended. Emma desperately tried calling Jackie back, but her attempts were in vain as the subscriber remained unavailable. Without hesitation, Matthew sprang into action. "Let's go quickly. Something has happened to Jackie." She says she's freezing, and it's the end of October. It's cold outside, Emma exclaimed, her fear palpable. Within moments, Matthew and Emma were in the car, speeding out of town towards the construction site. The area was filled with numerous abandoned buildings, but luck was on their side. They found Jackie in the first building they entered. As they stepped inside, a chilling scene awaited them. Jackie lay unconscious, her eyes closed, face pale, and lips blue. Fear gripped Emma's heart as she realized the gravity of the situation. They swiftly carried Jackie out and rushed her to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor informed them that Jackie had suffered from hypothermia. Emma and Matthew had found her just in time, as she was on the verge of freezing to death. The doctor offered words of encouragement, assuring them that Jackie was young and strong and would eventually recover. They were allowed to visit her the following day. The next morning, filled with a mix of anxiety and hope, Matthew and Emma hurried to the hospital. As they entered Jackie's ward, Emma's heart leaped, and she rushed to her stepdaughter, finally embracing her for the first time. "Jackie, what happened?" Emma asked, her voice filled with concern. Jackie's eyes filled with tears as she weakly whispered, "Emma, forgive me for everything. You are the best. I've been on the streets since childhood, and I've become hardened. I've been offended by the whole world, and I forgot that goodness, love, and care still exist in life. I thought they were as extinct as mammoths. I believed you were just pretending to be good in your husband's eyes, but yesterday I heard you praying sincerely for me. It was so moving, just like when my grandmother used to read prayers to me as a child." Jackie poured her heart out, her voice trembling with raw emotion. Emma's eyes filled with tears as she listened intently, her heart breaking for the pain that Jackie had endured. She understood the depth of Jackie's skepticism and guardedness, born from a lifetime of disappointment and betrayal. "I wanted to come to you, but I didn't dare," Jackie continued, her voice choked with sorrow. "Then I accidentally overheard what Dad wants to do, send me to an orphanage. I'd rather die than go there. That's why I decided to freeze, to just fall asleep and never wake up. But I couldn't do it." The weight of Jackie's words hung heavily in the room, suffocating the air with a sense of despair. Jackie was overcome with tears, her vulnerability laid bare for all to see. Emma and Matthew could no longer contain their own emotions, their tears mingling with Jackie's. In that moment, a profound shift occurred within the room. The standoff between stepmother and stepdaughter, once characterized by resentment and animosity, crumbled under the weight of Jackie's words and Emma's unwavering kindness. Emma's heart swelled with compassion and determination to break through the walls that had held Jackie captive for so long. Emma stepped forward, her voice trembling but filled with unwavering sincerity. "Jackie, please know that I never pretended to be good. I genuinely care for you just as I care for my own son. I understand the pain and mistrust you carry, but I want to show you that there is love and kindness in this world, even if it has been elusive for you." The room fell into a poignant silence, broken only by the sound of soft sobs. The weight of the moment pressed upon them, stirring emotions that had long been suppressed. It was a cathartic release, a shedding of the armor that had kept Jackie distant and guarded. Jackie, overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and understanding, finally allowed herself to be vulnerable. She embraced Emma, tears streaming down her face, and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for pushing you away. I've been so scared to trust, to let anyone in. But you've shown me that there is still goodness in this world, and I want to believe in it." Emma held Jackie tightly, a mix of joy and relief flooding her heart. In that moment, the barriers between them crumbled, and a newfound connection formed. The anger that had consumed Jackie's mind began to dissipate, replaced by a seed of hope and acceptance. From that day forward, their journey together unfolded. Emma, Matthew, and Jackie learned to navigate the complexities of their blended family, filled with love, understanding, and forgiveness. The wounds of the past slowly healed as they nurtured a bond rooted in compassion and genuine care. In the months and years that followed, the once foreign concept of being a family became their reality. They grew closer, forging a unity that surpassed blood ties. Together, they created a home where love and acceptance thrived, embracing the uniqueness of their connection. Their journey was not without challenges, but with Emma's unwavering kindness and Jackie's newfound openness, they faced them as a united front. They celebrated each milestone and supported one another through every triumph and setback. And in this blended family, they discovered that love knows no boundaries. It transcends the labels of stepmother and stepdaughter, weaving their lives together into a tapestry of shared experiences, shared laughter, and shared dreams.